All right, making some progress here. These sitting on the SIP are those 1.5" turn grounded polished rods. And I've been fitting them to the tailstock and honing the tailstock. Actually, I've been concentrating my honing in the center, right kind of where the oil hole is, and that seems to be the tightest. And the front seems to be the largest, the smallest seems to be the middle, and a bit bigger, a bit in between is the rearmost part. So I've been honing this, and I've got one of those bars to fit completely through, and it is tight. And I've been running the, I've been inserting them with the in the parts tank, running the mineral spirits as a lubricant. So it is super tight, but it does go all the way through. I'm gonna borrow from a friend of mine a bore gauge, because I don't have one. My smallest goes down to 2" or a bore mic. I've been using the telescopic gauges, whatever you call them, in my Tense digital mic. And I think I got to take a bit more off the back, but I don't trust myself with the telescoping gauges, so I want to get a either a bore mic or an indicating bore gauge. So we'll keep going on with that. And maybe it's a bit primitive, but I've been using a brake cylinder hone, like Amco, Lyle. Pretty common. I know it's not a parallel hone, but I don't have a Sun honing machine or a portable hone that goes that small. So I'm playing with it for now, and if I keep measuring it, it should work out, pretty well. So more on that. Okay, minor weird thing. These are two of the 3 bushings for the feed rod, and I fixed this. Let me take this off. You can see they're keyed, so they rotate. And what this is, man, the glare is probably killing you. It has a pin in it, and the pin was gone, well, half broke, and it's a 093 pin. And you can see it's actually the washer's cracked. We can see it. I know you can see right where the pin goes through. The drilled hole for the pin is cracked. So I made I didn't have any 093 pins, so I used a piece of tungsten from my TIG electrode there. So that's like some tungsten was 092, some was 094. This happened to be right on 093. So I cut it, ground it, fit it, and I did is I put that in there with Loctite. Man, you probably can't see this focus. I clamped it in there with Loctite. The hoop stress contained in the washer is enough to hold it, and it was holding fine before the green Loctite. But like I said, wanted to move the project forward, didn't have an 093 dowel pin, so I used a piece of tungsten. And then this is actually the bearing surface, and I dropped this on the surface grinder magnet with the pin overhanging the edge, and I dusted the surface, so now it's parallel. There's about a thou of zigzag offset with that brake. So got that done and done. And the pin, I should show you guys because you're not going to understand why the pin is there. Doozer, why is the pin there? So these are the worm feeds. So what the deal is that the pin, right, it goes in that notchy notch. There's the notch, there's the pin, you get the idea. And I had to grind the notch out a little bit. I had a diamond Dremel bit. Come on, bugger. There you go. So that's what it is. It's a positive rotational thing. So when the worm is driven, the washer is driven and it takes the wear. So that's what that is. Kind of fun. So I got my power feed clutches, even cleaner. And they used to have two different size balls on the ends. So what I did is I bought these off eBay. They are table lock handles for a Bridgeport mill. So I thought they looked way nicer than a ball, because they're sexy, right? They got that teardrop shape, and they're just beautiful. And they add some length. Excuse me. Add some length. Hope they don't hit the chip pan. I don't think they will. And they're the same thread, 5/16 18. I paid $20 a piece for these, but you know what? It's worth it, because they're just a very cool, pleasing shape. And yes, I could have made these on the lathe and done some free form turning, but I just don't have the time. For $20 a piece or whatever, it was worth it. So just thought I'd bring you that, kind of a dress-up item when this thing is going to be finished. But I just think they look so much better than a round black phenolic ball. They're just, ooh, it really is it makes me happy to have nice little handles like this. And the fact that it makes them a bit longer, this lathe is going to be a pleasure to operate. And that's a big part of my goal on some of my machines is I really want to fine tune them to make them a pleasure to use. So these handles are just making me happy. So that's what that is. Okay, so this is the saddle. Maybe the last shot that I recorded here, it was really rusty, and it probably was. So I've been cleaning on this thing like a mad bastard with phosphoric acid and a soft wire brush and some steel wool and oil and using alcohol and steel wool and some Scotch-Brite and some sanding pads for like drywall, sanding sponges. I've got probably 8 hours into this, maybe more. But I wanted to show you guys. I'm going to turn the light on. Maybe it's going to be good, maybe it's not. So this thing, this cross slide, can you see the scraping marks, the flaking? See that? And this is actually pretty heavily rusted. There's some beat marks on the end there. I don't know. But you can see there was some rust. I got 99.9% of it out there, right? Rust. But this thing's in good shape. Spin around the back side. Get the light just right. Ooh, there you go for the contrast. Bring in just a little bit of light. Okay. It's not super defined, but the scraping marks are definitely there. I'm going to try to move the camera slow. Otherwise it kind of gets blurry. But you can see the crisscross scraping, frosting, whatever you want to call it. And I won't show you underneath the down and under the dovetails, but these are really good too. I might throw some dowel pins and a 3-inch mic on there just to see the whole shooting match. This thing's really dirty. I cleaned the front, cleaned down inside. Yeah, it doesn't work. Cleaned down inside. Put my lamp down, my torch, as they say, down under. this is where the lead screw goes, and all this was just rusty and rusty and rusty, and this whole back was rusty. Let me tip this guy back over. Let's see, this number 13 is on a lot of my parts, so this must have been a series. There's 13 again. But this thing, man, I really cleaned the snot out of it. Really clean. Just, and all this, there's some rust staining, but you can maybe see the scraping marks. The ways are in good shape. You know, the whole, let me try this again. I don't know if this is, I don't know. But it, maybe my camera's not showing. Really nice. Really nice. Alright. Not sure what bolt's on there. That's kind of interesting. Don't know what bolt's on there. The power feed gear goes in here and da 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 da. Interesting thing. So if you notice, it's not a V and a flat like most lathes. It's a V in the front and a V in the rear. So that's nice. And that's how, you know, a lot of the high quality lathes are, and the earlier lathes were double V. Takes a lot more to scrape it, but it lasts a lot longer. One thing I wanted to mention, these ways, man, they, to me, look smaller than like a South Bend 10-inch in physical V size here. The actual length of the saddle is longer, of course, twice as long as a South Bend 10-inch. But it's interesting how much smaller they are. I think the reason is that there's two V ways instead of a V and a flat, and they get away with the smaller ways. And this is a tool room lathe, so it's these ways are smaller than the 10EE, and I don't remember if the 10EE is a V and a flat or a V and a V. I should take note of that next time I look one up on the internet. But I believe I'm correct. My buddy Jim has a 1913 or 1919, somewhere in there, South Bend 13-inch lathe. Okay, so early teens, 13-inch South Bend lathe, and it has double V-ways, and he's got also a 1983 South Bend 13-inch lathe, one of the last before South Bend closed, and it's got a V and a flat. So interesting there. I guess I'm just rambling about this. I'm so happy that I'm over the last hurdle of cleaning this. Gosh, I've been just stinking in lacquer thinner and paint thinner and all the like. But yeah, this thing is really in good shape. Super happy. Don't drop it, Doozer. Don't drop it. Yeah. Super happy with all that. I might go over some of this with a little sanding cartridge roll and paint it gray. Might get some of the heavy coated paint out of there. But like I said, when I showed you with the flashlight, I'm so happy, you know, to see the I don't know if you can see the scraping on these ways. So awesome. Like all this stuff is kind of knicker-nude, you know. I ran a file across some of this and a sanding pad. You know, it's it's just character. Same on this wing. It's not bad. That's not going to get paint. So rambled enough about that. Just trying to document my effort. Good gosh. De-rusting and de-greasing. Like I said, I probably got about 8 hours into this thing. But super cleaned, and I'm going to get some Rust-Oleum on there with a nice brush, and we'll start putting this together. So happy day.